Hello everybody, I'm Irina, co-owner of Flying Fibers in Landisville, Pennsylvania, and second shepherdess in command at White Rose Acres, home to Flying Fibers flock. And this is episode 4 of Stories with the Shepherdess. Hi, hello! Long time no chat. Honestly, since my last episode that was probably filmed right before we started lambing, it's just been absolutely crazy. So for today's segment of Flock Talk, I thought I would talk about all of the lambs that we've had. So we have 12 lambs on the ground, which is probably the most that we have actually ever had, which is awesome. So I'll just kind of go in chronological order, and I will have photos, and the deer lambs are just so cute. So April 19th. We are pulling in after a day of work, getting ready to get the chores all finished, and we're all wondering why there's the smallest sheep just standing next to Char, one of our ewes that had been pregnant, and then suddenly it kicked in like, oh my gosh, there's lambs. And we had taken maybe a 2-season break from lambing just to let all of our girls kind of build up energy. It's a lot of work. If you've ever had a kid, you know what that kind of postpartum takes like a toll on your body. And because we raise mainly for wool and not necessarily for breeding stock, we want our sheep to be in the best health possible so that they give us the best wool possible, so that our flock yarn can be as great as it is. So we run down and we pop into the pasture, and Char has just delivered these 2 beautiful girls, one black one and one white one. So Minnie is our white one because she was the smallest at birth, and then Ginny is her sister, so Minerva and Ginevra. And it's actually really funny now because Minnie is much larger than Ginny. We have figured out that she has gotten tall enough to be able to jump up into the hay bin because she's not as heavy as the other girls in terms of the full-grown ewes. So she'll be walking around in the hay pile. So their daddy is Fred and their mum is Char. Fred's a Leicester Longwool and Char is a Wensleydale, so they are a Longwool cross. They've got beautiful, beautiful fleeces. If you've ever knit with our Timi and Friends yarn or just our plain Timi yarn, that's what it's going to feel like. So it's like the best qualities of both fleece. So they are super adorable. The next day, it was a Wednesday. No. I apologize. I misspoke. It was a Friday because it was April 20th and it was the Brooklyn Tweed Ranch 1 launch. And we were so excited because we had been able, as a destination store, to grab a little bit of it. So we were planning this big party. We were staying open late, and around maybe 2:30, my mom calls and she's just like, did you see any of my texts? Like, have they been going through? Like, there's 2 Orlas. And I was like, what do you mean there's 2 Orlas? Like, 2 Orlas? Orla had 2 babies and they were 2 beautiful girls. She goes, you need to get to Tractor Supply. One can't nurse. I don't know what's wrong. You just need to get bottle baby stuff, and you need to get down here. Like, I need your help. I can't do this by myself. I have a work meeting at maybe 4 o'clock. And I was like, oh, alrighty. It must have been about 2 because, yeah, time-wise. So, luckily, I had a really trustworthy customer here, and I was just like, hey, would you be okay, running the shop? You can call me. My phone number is, behind the counter. Call me if you need, help running the cash register, and, I shared her just the basics. Of course, we were, swamped, so I got a lot of phone calls while I was on my way. But I ran to Tractor Supply. I got all the necessary colostrum, milk replacer, the nipples for the bottles, whole 9 yards, and something called Nutri-Drench, which is like a molasses and vitamin mix that you give to lambs. It helps give them a kickstart. It's it's good. So I get down there, and it's these 2 beautiful black ewe lambs, and the meeting had actually started earlier, so my mom was actually calling in via conference call to this meeting while trying to get these lambs to nurse, which was really, really a sight. It was really funny. she made it, you know, like it was fine. They were okay with her conferencing in, but these two little lambs, two black Wensleydale ewe lambs, their dad is Phillip, which we have unfortunately sold out of his flock yarn already. Some of it is in Germany, which is super exciting. Oh man, that's okay. But Orla's their mom, and so the one ewe was really, really strong, and she was up in nursing, and the other one was like kind of falling down, and we were just like, what's going on? Upon closer inspection, it seems as though that she also had a vitamin deficiency, and so her back hooves, if this is the floor, she would try to step, but instead of it stepping and being secure, it would roll under, and she would essentially be standing on her knuckle. That does cause problems, because if you can't stand natural selection, your mom just leaves you. So we were able to get colostrum in her from both her mom, but my mom and I both knew that we wouldn't be able to leave her here. So we got a tub and we filled it with straw, and we took her back to the shop because that's all that we could do. So Pippa is and still is our bottle lamb. She spent the first almost 3 months of her life at the yarn shop.
Pips, are you excited to be back at the yarn shop? Are you so excited to be back at the yarn shop? Come on this way. Come on. Who's so excited? There's my girl. Who's so excited? Come here, Pips.
Pippa, it was our bottle lamb, and then Poppy is her sister, and they were born April 20th the next day. And then a few days had gone by, a week about, and then one of our Longwool ewes, she had hopped in with the Shetland ram during breeding season, and there was nothing we could do to get her out because he had gotten her by the time that we had realized. They can be pesky. But she had the cutest ewe lambs. Scout and Celeste, they are Longwool Shetland crosses, and they are absolutely adorable. So beautiful. They've got the Shetland faces and like medium length tails, but they've got like this mix of like a Shetland and Longwool fleece. It's really interesting. It's going to be really cool to see how they grow up. So Scout and Celeste were born April 26th. Now, if you're counting with me, we've got 6 out of 6 ewes. That's never happened to us before. We've never had, like, all girls. But that was really exciting as well because we knew we could sell some for breeding stock and keep some for wool. It was good. And then Dot finally had her babies. That was May 1st, I believe. And she was kind of the tipping scale. So she had 1 ewe and 1 ram. And so the ewe looks exactly like her. There is no doubt that that is her daughter. And her name is Hilda. And then the little ram lamb, we don't know where he popped out from. Shetlands have like 30 recognized colors and like 30 like markings that they can have. So he is a black gull midget. They're very rare in the sense that it's not a common color. So, but his fleece is really good, so we're actually going to snip him and keep him to be a wool sheep. We feel kind of bad, but if they've thrown that pattern before, it's very possible that they can throw that pattern again. And Graham, he's the little ram lamb, and they are just so cute. And I got there, and they were up, and they were nursing, and they were running around. And then Stella, our massive Teeswater ewe, she popped out 3 boys. So Owen is the smallest, Oliver is the second biggest, and then the biggest one is Oscar. And so they're 3 Teeswater rams, and they're so cute. They've got really lovely markings. Owen, we're probably gonna castrate and sell off for a wool sheep to a wool sheep farm. But the other 2 can go for breeding stock because their markings are really, really lovely, and they'll be registered and everything. So that was really lovely. And then June 10th, yeah, surprise! Timi popped out a beautiful, healthy, big ewe lamb, completely without assistance, up in nursing, standing in the field. We did close them in for 1 evening just so that they could get acquainted, but Raina is our last lamb born this season, and she's lovely. Her dad is Skater boy, so she is half sibling to all the Teeswater boys. She'll make a beautiful addition to a spinner's flock. So she is a proper Longwool cross. She's got Leicester, Wensleydale, and Teeswater qualities coming up through. So Raina was our last healthy ewe lamb, and it was such an easy lambing season. Jerry only had to assist twice, which was nice. yeah, overall it was really lovely. So I hope you enjoyed all the photos and the stories. In terms of Pippa, she is no longer at the shop. She graduated. So she was here from the time that she was born on April 20th until last Tuesday. And then Wednesday, you know, you could tell that she was kind of she needed to be with her friends, and so we actually were able to transition her to like an every 12-hour bottle much easier than we had expected, and we're actually getting ready to wean her off soon, which is sad, but it's necessary. You know, you never want your babies to grow up, especially ones that were with you all the time. So Pippa's really good, and unfortunately, like, she's not going to be in the yarn shop any longer. She is loving life on the farm. Uncle Percy, our Shetland wether, he loves her, and he makes sure that she's okay, and he stands next to her when she's getting her bottle so that, like, the other sheep don't push at her. It's really, really sweet. So she's doing really fabulous, too, and we're so happy to see her thriving. So that was my flock talk segment. Holy Hannah. Also, in that time, just before I swap over, we sheared everybody, so Jerry and I still have to skirt that. We are going away on a business trip to Scotland, like, next week. So, yay. So we'll skirt when we get back and take it down to the mill and hopefully have a little bit for Rhinebeck. And then we did get our flock yarn back. Lots of really beautiful stuff. We've got stuff from Marley, Orla, and Athena. That's our natural black Wensleydale. We've got the white Wensleydale from the rest of the flock, which would be Pete, Penny, Charlotte. Yeah, just Pete, Penny, Charlotte, actually. We don't have that many white. We've got 100% Timi, which is our Leicester Longwool Wensleydale cross. We just had Raina. We also have got a few skeins of Skater Boy and Stella left. There are Teeswaters. What else did we get from her? Yeah. And then the 100% Leicester Longwool from the whole flock. So that would be Rachel, Cherry, Violet, Prim, Ramuel, and Fred. Yeah, so we've also got that. I will put all of the listings for those yarns down in the show notes. So anyways, that was Flock Talk. Thank you for listening to me ramble, because I believe it was about 15 minutes worth. So I'm going to make the rest of this very, very short. All right. So moving on to what's on my needles. I've got 2 things on my needles, and I'm going to make it short, sweet, to the point. Actually, 3 things. I lied. First off, Gretna Jumper Knit Along is over. I still only had the front finished because I had other deadlines and I was in school and finals, so I am going to revisit that once I get back from Scotland and just bang it out. I only have the 2 sleeves and the back left. I did the most difficult part, so that's good. But I've got the Gathering Place Cowl, which is going to be a design that I have for Knitter's Day Out. It's just got this really lovely honeycomb pattern. It's going to be really, really lovely. It does stretch out. It's kind of like a tube right now, but it does stretch quite nicely. So look for that pattern to release mid-July at the start of registration. I've got a few members of the board doing some sort of modification test knits for it, just to see what ways you can style it and if we could do a double wrap option. But the goal is everybody makes one and wears one to KDO, and we take group pictures every day. It's going to be really lovely, and it will take about 200 yards of worsted weight. I'm using Quince Co Lark in the color Barolo, and it's knitting up really nicely. I've never used Lark, but I'm really keen on it. So yeah, so that's very nice. So that's my first on my needles, and my second one is my Scotland sweater, which I might not be able to finish. Ugh. Anyways, so everybody that's going on this little business trip, it's kind of like a fiber arts retreat / business trip, they kind of made something to wear. So like my mom's made a chickadee sweater, my friend Jess has made a cabled cardie, my friend Jules has made a few sweaters, and I was just like, I want to make a Scotland sweater. So this is what I've been spinning. It is the Shore Cardigan by Carrie Hoge, and it is spun out of, I had a Cotswold ewe named Surrey, so it's spun out of Surrey and some satin Angora that I blended together from one of my old rabbits, Lacey. It's really gorgeous. I'm loving how it's looking. It's just like a simple gray, but that satin Angora adds some warmth to it. I've got a sleeve, and I tried to knit these 2 at a time, and it did not work out in my favor, so I've actually attached my one sleeve, and I'm just going to knit it till the end, and then I'll attach the other sleeve and I'll knit it to the end. So I'm about halfway on both sleeves, which is good at least. And then I just need the button band and the neckband. I don't know if I'll be able to get it done, but I'm going to try. So I've got tax paper that I have to get finished before I leave and hand in. So I'm going to hopefully try to like bang that out in the next like 4 days and then have like at least another 3 to like knit this. We'll see. So, and that is my second what's on my needles that is visibly here. And I only have one recently finished object. That's going to be the Open Waters Cowl by Melanie Berg. And this is knit out of just 2 skeins of our Leicester Longwool flock yarn. It's really nice, actually. I was kind of unsure about it. Look at that pattern. I was a little bit unsure about it, to be honest, but once I knit it, I really, really liked it. So this is in the long version, and then you can also double it up and just have the single wrap. So it's really nice, and I think that the Leicester Longwool, any of our Longwool flock yarns, give it the nice drape that it actually needs, because it is a little bit, it's going to be suited for heavier yarn. So that was really gorgeous. And if you had if you buy making magazines from us, it was in the 2nd issue Fauna, but it's also available as an individual pattern now. So I had a lot of fun knitting this. It was super rhythmic. I ended up not even using the pattern because I was able to like eyeball from like what part, how many rows I needed to then move to the next step. And that was really nice. It makes it a really nice travel project. So I advocate for the pattern. I also advocate for the yarn because it supports a rare breed. But yeah, it's really fun. So I've enjoyed that a lot. So that's my Open Waters Cowl. So that's the only thing I've really finished. I've just been working on really big projects. I haven't gotten a lot done. What's new in the shop? We've got flock yarn like I had previously mentioned. We also have a new color of Yorkshire Medley because I don't believe I have talked about Maryland Sheep and Wool, which was a fabulous experience. Mr. Ashford of New Zealand and his son-in-law visited us, so it was lovely to meet Richard and David, and I got to spin on the Ashford E-spinner, which was gorgeous. Very excited. So we actually brought in a ton of their roving because they had showed us samples at the show and we were so blown away. So very proud to be an Ashford dealer and very proud that they took time out of their busy schedules to come seek us out. But then also from Maryland, because it was like our I believe it was like our 12th year, 13th show, I think is how we figured it out. Always unsure because we've been doing it for so long. We came out with a new Yorkshire Medley color to celebrate 2 years of Yorkshire Medley. I know, I can't believe it. Thank you all for your support of our crazy endeavor. We are so fortunate that people are responding so positively to spreading the long wool love, as we like to call it. So let me show you the new color. This is Monk's Hood. It's like an ultraviolet purple. It's, oh my gosh, it's absolutely lovely. Isn't it just stunning? It's like the ultraviolet color that you need in your stash and on your needles. Yeah, my mom dreamed this one up and she was just like experimenting and she made it work. So she wrote down the you know, the recipe, and it's going to be a forever color at the Yorkshire Medley line. So that's going to be a really nice one to add into like color work. It looks gorgeous against any of the colors. So thank you so much for listening to me chatter on. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Thanks so much. Hey everyone, thanks so much for following along with our video podcast Stories with the Shepherdess. If you would like to stay updated, you can follow us on Instagram at Flying Fibers, or you can follow either of our Facebooks, Flying Fibers for our yarn shop in Landisville, Pennsylvania, or Flying Fibers Flock to keep updated with happenings on the farm. Thanks so much!